Welcome to Microsoft 365 training. In this video, we'll discuss about calculated columns and we'll discuss about the views in SharePoint list or a document library. So to create a calculated column, we'll go to the SharePoint list first. So in this SharePoint list, we already created a couple of columns. Now we'll try to create a couple of other columns first, couple of currency columns, and then we'll try to create a calculated column based on these columns. So for that, I'm going back to list settings. Under list settings, we have columns option. Under that, we have an option name called create column. Here, we already have a basic salary, and now we'll try to create a HRA column with a calculated one. Now, when you select a calculated column, we will get a couple of other options in the bottom. I have additional column settings. Description is always optional. Now it is asking for a formula. So I want to add a 50% of the HRA would be the 50% of the basic salary. So for that I'm selecting basic salary and I'll use by 2. And I'm expecting the output also should be a currency column, and number of decimal places would be automatic, and the currency format I'll take a Indian currency. Here we have Indian currency format and it is going to add to the default view. I'll click OK. Now if we go to the employee list, I have the basic salary field here, and based on this the HRE is updated automatically. We'll try to add a new data to this list. I'll enter something Mr. David, and employee address would be something New York. Employee ID I'll give something called 112, and department will select like HR department, and basic salary I'll enter like 1 lakh rupees, and then this is optional. Country I'll select India. No, it's from New York, so we'll select US here. Full-time employees, yes. I'm not adding more fields here. When I try to save this data, and you can able to see the HRA is 50% of the basic salary. The basic salary is 1 lakh. Now the HRA is 50,000. In the same manner, I want to add 25% of the bonus to the employee. So for that, I'm trying to create another calculated column. If you click this one, if you hit more, then it will redirect to the page where we are creating the columns. Now I'll enter something called bonus, and then when I select this calculated column, and again I get the same kind of options. Now the basic salary by 4, I want to get the 25%, so 25% would be by 4, or you can use this formula like 100. If you want to use like this 25, we'll see what happens. And again it should be a currency column, and that is also the Indian currency. I'll select this and then click OK. Now when I enter this one, I'm expecting the bonus should be 25%. You can see HRD is 50,000 and bonus is 25,000. And whenever you try to add a data, now I clicked on this new, and I'll enter something called Mr. Kevin, and from Paris. So do we have France? I don't think so. 3113, and the department is, again I'm selecting HR department. Here I'll give 2 lakh rupees basic salary, and here if you scroll down you cannot able to see the fields which you created like HRA, and also we have created bonus, and those fields will not available here inside the new form. I'll save this data. When I save this data, the data will save. You can able to see the HRD is 1 lakh and the bonus is 50,000. So when you try to modify or when you try to edit any of the existing data which is already created, if I select this one, if I hit this edit, and in the edit form, if you scroll down, I can able to see the sorry I can able to see this HRA, I can able to see this bonus as well, but which is not editable because these all are the read-only fields. You cannot able to modify, you cannot able to update. But if you update the basic salary of this user, like from 2 lakhs to 20,000, if you try to save this, then automatically the HRA field and the bonus field will be updated automatically. These calculated columns are read-only columns, and you cannot you cannot able to update or you cannot able to add the data into calculated columns. The calculated columns will get the information from other columns, and you cannot able to update in a new form or you cannot able to update in a edit form as well. So that is about the calculated columns, and we have covered the most of the columns. We have left with a few columns that we'll discuss in the upcoming sessions, but I'll give a brief intro about it. This is a image column. If you want to use an image inside your SharePoint list, you can able to use that, and that I'll show you in the upcoming sessions. And this task outcome is related to the workflows, and if you want to capture or if you want to store any outcome of the workflow, you can use this task outcome. This external data column will get the data from external sources that we'll discuss in the upcoming sessions. And managed metadata field also needs a term store to get the data and attach into a list item as a tag or maybe a document library document. And if you want to attach any tags to that, you can use the metadata columns. We have covered remaining all other columns. Now we'll discuss about the views. So to create a view, we have to go to the list settings, or you can able to create from here also. Here you can able to see create new view option. Before that, we'll try to understand there is a all items.aspx page is available, and this is a default view for any of the list. When you create a list, the list creates with a default view called all items.aspx. And if you want to create another view, we can able to create from a list settings option. But before creating a view, if you click this one, you can able to see only one view is available for this list. And if you go to list settings, in the list settings we have couple of options, like these are the general settings. Next we have columns, and in the bottom you can able to see option name called views. Now we have only one view, and which is the default view, and in the mobile also we can use the same view. And this is again default mobile view also, this view, because this list contains only single view. Now if you want to create a new view, you can able to create from here. When we click this one, we can able to see a different type of views are available here. One is the standard view. The standard view is just before what we seen as that all items.aspx is a standard view, and you can view data on a web page, and you can choose from a list of display styles that you can able to see in the standard views. The next one is data sheet view. The data sheet view is something like when you are trying to update an items, you can able to see edit in grid view option. In the edit in grid view, you can able to modify all the field values in all the rows. The same fashion, if you create a data sheet view that looks like in a spreadsheet format, and you can able to update multiple items at a time. And the next one is calendar view. The calendar view is help if you have any type of start date and end date type of concepts, or maybe if you want to keep the holidays list, or if you want to keep any important date related stuff, you can go with the calendar view. Other than that, and the calendar view will not helpful to maintain the data. Only if you have any date related concept which is a primary in the list, and you can use the calendar view. It is something like if you are working with a project site, and if your project have some start date and end date, or maybe employees are assigning a specific task and which contains a start and end date, this type of views will be helpful. And then last one is that is a Gantt chart. Gantt chart only helpful when you are working with a graphical representation of the data, or maybe if you want to show your the previous data information, or maybe analytics related stuff, you can work with the Gantt view. And if you want to take the information from the existing view, you can select this one to create a new view, but we'll create a standard view from the scratch, and later we'll see that. I'm trying to create a view here, and in this list I have I'll try to open this list in a new tab. So here we have different type of departments, and based on the department I want to show the data. So for that I want to create a HR view. I'll type this HR view, and this one will discuss once we create this view. If you make this view as a default view, when you try to open the list, and this view will open instead of, now currently the list URL is opening with all items.aspx when you try to open with the list URL, or when you go to the site contents from there, if you are try to open that list, the all items view is coming fast. We'll change that to a HR view also, that will check once we create this view. Now after this we have two options. One is create a personal view and create a public view. The personal view is nothing but if you create a view, and if you select it as a personal view, you can only able to see, other people cannot able to see that view. Whereas coming to the public views, if you create and then if you made that as a public view, and all the people who have access to the SharePoint list, and they can able to see this view as well. So that's a slight difference between a personal view and public view. Personal view only for the use of the person who created, and the public view, all the people who have access to the site, they can able to access this one. And here we have the columns, and it will show all the columns which are inside your list. And for example, in this view you don't want to show the date of joining, and also you don't want to show this country title, and full-time employee you don't want to show, and company URL you want to skip. And also if you want to select this created by an ID in this view, you can. And also if you want to change the order of the column also in the view, you can able to change from here. And the next one is sort. So we have a ascending and descending format. Two styles are available, and if you select any of the field from here, or any of the column from here, and it will filter, or it will sort the data based on that particular column. If you select maybe an employee name, and it will sort based on the employee name. I'll select this one, and then we have the filter concept, and this is the most important in the view. So what type of items and type of the property values you want to display in this view, you can able to select from here. I'll select this one, show items only when the following is true. So that's what we are trying to get, like if the employee department is equal to HR, I want to see that items only in that view. So then I'll get almost 5 items inside that. So I'll select here is employee department I'm selecting, which is equal to, I'll type HR, yes. And here we have option to have multiple conditions as well. And like if the employee department is equal to HR, and also if you want to get other department as well, and you can use employee department is equal to admin, like that. So you can use a combination of filters here in this SharePoint list view, and maximum 10 combinations supports in SharePoint view. Like if you click show more columns, if you hit show more columns like this, it will show maximum of 10 conditions, and after that it will not show. and we are done. So now you can able to check maximum 10 conditions you can able to apply to a list view. Now this is first one, second, third, fourth, and fifth, sixth, seven, eight, nine, and the last one is 10. So maximum 10 combination of conditions you can able to apply here. And I'm just giving only a single employee department is equal to HR. And coming to the tabular view, uh, so the tabular view shows which is already applied allow individual item checkboxes, and that is allowed inside this view. In even we have a standard view called all items, and inside that also which contains checkboxes you can able to select it. And also you can allow users to select them multiple list items to perform a bulk operations, which is available inside the existing view also. And here also I'm selecting that and it will be available. This grouped by concept we'll discuss a bit later. First we'll create a view and we'll work on it. Grouped by work like the same fashion how we are using this option. You'll have a plus symbol, so which means if you group the items by a department and all the specific HR department grouped by with the HR name, and when they expand that and all the items will be visible there. We'll check a bit later this one, and we'll go to the totals. And if you select any one of this, it only shows the count on it. I'm selecting for the basic salary, and here we have a different styles. If you click this one, you can able to see the view styles. There is a basic table concept, and boxed and no tables option is available, boxed is available, and if you want to go to default you can able to go with the default. So these are the view styles. If you select a basic table, the view will display like a basic table, and if you select a box and no labels and without labels, the data will show in a boxed fashion. Newsletter fashion is available. A couple of other styles are available. Whatever you like you can go that. And coming to the folders, as discussed in the earlier sessions, we can able to create a folders also in a SharePoint list or in a document library also. And if you want to show the items inside the folder, you can choose the first option. Or you don't want to show the folders, you directly wants to show the items outside of it, like which means in the root folder you want to see all the items, you can go show all items without folder. So if it is in the folder also, it will show outside the folder. And the next one is item limit. When you're working with a modern environment, and this item limit will not impact on your list view, and initially it will show 30 items. If you try to scroll down, and it will show another 30 items. But in the classic mode, if you have 30 items limit inside a view page, and if your list contains 120 or 150 items, and it will show the pagination in the bottom. So which means if you are in the first page, you can only able to see 30 items, and then after that when you hit the second page, and it will show another 30 items. So like that the item limit work in the classic pages, but when it is coming to the modern pages or a modern views, and it will not impact on it. When you scroll down, it will show another 30 items as well. And coming to the mobile, and this view also enable for the mobile access. People can able to jump from the all items to this view also. And if you want to make this view as a default view for the mobile, so which means if you make this as a default view, people who opens this list in the mobile phones, and they can able to see this view directly, and they can able to open the items. In the mobile view, the maximum number which shows for that particular view page nation would be 3, which is giving, but if you want, you can able to increase. And we'll come back and we'll see other settings which we missed it out. When I click OK, and it will create a view for us, and now you can able to see the view name is HR view. In the URL also you can able to see this hrview.aspx, and here you can able to see the title, employee name, employee address, employee ID, employee department is available, and the basic salary is available, and the count is showing here. It's a currency column, so that's why it's showing the currency symbol as well. The countries you can able to see, and the manager you can able to see. And this is the different type of style, so it is showing like this. And if you jump into the all items view, and this view is different, and which contains all the items. But if you go to the HR view, you can only able to see the employee dependent is equal to HR. Total we have 5 items. That 5 items we can able to see here. So we have created a view. When you create a view, you can able to see the created view here. The all items is a default one, and HR view which we created. Now I'm going back to the list settings again. If you want to modify the view, you have to come down. When you hit this HR view, you can able to edit that. Now what I want is, I'm just going back to the styles, and so which is a default style, we are not changed anything. I will before discussing about a grouping. Now here we have HR department, we have facilities or a technical department. We'll go with the technical department. Now I'll use a R condition. So if you use a AND condition, and this condition should be satisfied and the next condition should be satisfied, if both are true, only the results will come. If you use R, and if it is true, it will show this result. If it is true, it will show this result as well, which means it shows the both result as well. Now I'm going back and selecting this employee department is equal to technical. I'll just type technical here. Now I'll select this group by. I want to group by the items by employee department. We'll try to save this one. I'm not modifying any other settings. We'll come back and we'll see other default view related settings. Now when I click this one, I can able to see total 6 items were available. 5 items which are in HR department and 1 item technical department. Now I expand this one, I can able to see this 5 items. If I minimize and if I expand this one, I can able to see a single item here. So this way we can able to group the items inside the SharePoint list based on any one of the property. So it's easy to understand and easy to categorize the data inside SharePoint list. And I'm going back to list settings again. In the list settings, I'm trying to modify this. Before modifying this one, I will jump into site contents. If you go to the site contents, if you try to open this employee list, when we click this one, and this all items.aspx is opening by default. I want to change this one. So for that, again I'm going back to view settings. If I click this HR view, in the top I'll see an option name called make this the default view. If I make this as a default view, when I click OK, and then when you go back to the site contents, refresh this one, and when you hit this employee list, and which is opening with the HR view, earlier which is with the all items.aspx, but now it is with the HR view. So which means what, whenever you make the view as a default view, the default view will open whenever the list opens with the list URL. And if the people is trying to open with the all items.aspx, it will open with the all items.aspx. But if anyone have the URL of the list, when they try to open this one, and this will open directly with the HR view, because this HR view is the default view of the list. So that's why whenever a user is try to open the list with the list URL, it will take the default view. And again, if you want to jump back to the previous one, you can able to do that as well. I'm going back to all items and click this one. Here also we can able to see an option name called edit current view. When you hit this edit current view, it will open that in another window. From here we can able to update the view. Here I'm changing this, make this the default view. When I click OK, now the view will change. If I go back to site contents, and then when I try to click this employees, now the default view is all items.aspx, and this will open when you try to open the list from the site contents, or if you try to open from the list URL also, it will take the default view. And we'll try to see a couple of other options in the view. Now when you click this HR view, we discussed about the default view concept, and here also we have another option to modify the URL earlier, which is HR space view. And if you don't want to keep the space in between this, you can able to change the URL when you click OK. Now in the top you can able to see HR without space, which is HR view .aspx earlier, which is a HR space view. So you can able to modify the view URL also from the view settings. And views will be helpful to categorize the data. For example, if you have thousands of records inside your list, but based on some property value you want to understand how many items were there, or based on combination of the conditions you want to display the data, you can able to do that. And also, for example, if you want to get the items which is created today, so that also you can able to do. For that, what I'm doing is I'll create a new view. I'm going to list settings. I'll try to create a standard view. I'll type something called today. If you come down in the filter, which is created, I'm trying to type today. We'll see. Before saving this, here in this filter, you can see some statement. Show all of the items in this view or display a subset of items by using the filters. And to filter on a column based on the current date or a current user of the site, you can type today. So which means if you want to get the today items, or me, which is for the current user. If you pass me, which means if I created an item, I can able to see in this view, or if somebody created an item, only that person can able to see those items which is created by, which is created is equal to today, which means created today. And if you use created by is equal to me, and if I created, I can able to see. If somebody created, and they can able to see. So this way also you can able to filter the date based and the user based as well. So now I'm just giving today, I'm not modifying anything in this view. If I click OK, now the two items we have created today, so that's why these two items only appearing in this view. If you want to jump to different view, you can able to jump into different view, and if you want to go to all items view, you can able to go to all items view. So views plays a major role when we are working with a SharePoint list or a document library, and based on some property and you want to filter, and you want to show the data to the end user, you can able to do like this. So to create a view, we have to go to the list settings, and from there we can able to create a list views. And in the filter we have to give a specific condition to filter the data, and if you are not giving any filter also, it will show all the items. But if you want to display based on some condition, you have to use a filter. And inside that also we have couple of options. You can group the items as well, and you can sort the items as well. You can change the style of the view as well, and you can add or remove the columns. Or you just want to show a couple of columns and you don't want to show all the columns, you can able to restrict, and you can change the order of the columns also in the view. And this view have some limitations also in a SharePoint, that also we'll discuss in upcoming session. But SharePoint Online have a 5000 view item limit, and that is also applicable to the SharePoint document library, which is reaches to the 5000 items or 5000 documents, and it will show a view threshold limit, which means the SharePoint list or a document library can able to hold 1,000,000 of items, but in a specific view you can only show maximum of 5000 items. And again, you can remediate with a couple of options, like you can use grouping as well. Instead of directly showing all items on the view, and you can prepare a grouping, or you can archive the items into a folders. So whatever the way, if you want to resolve that, you can able to resolve that. We'll discuss in the upcoming session. But SharePoint view threshold limit is 5000 items only. Okay, in this session we covered calculated columns and views in SharePoint list. Of course, library also have a same type of concept. The calculated columns are read-only fields when it is coming to the new and edit form. Even when you are trying to open the view, that would be always a read-only mode. And we cannot able to see the calculated fields in the new form. So that also we have tested. When you create a calculated column, it will not appear in the new form. And coming to the views, we have different type of views that we discussed, like a standard view, Gantt view, calendar view. This type of views we already discussed. And we can able to filter the data, and also we can able to sort the data when you are creating a view, and you can able to group the items in the views, and we can able to create a personal views and a public views. The personal views will be available to the person who created it, and the public views will be available to the users who have access to the specific list or a document library.